Good morning, I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq, and for this edition of Trade Talks, we are going to focus on retail, back-to-school trends, and helping me today is Evan Clark. He's the Deputy Managing Editor of Women's Wear Daily. Thank you so much for joining us at MarketSite.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
WWD is like such a big retail go-to when I was on the sell side. Anyway, and my question to you is retail investable at this point?
I think it's difficult. I think it's certainly possible to put money into the market and kind of make it back, but you have to be very careful. I think we're talking, there's a lot of back to school season is just kind of wrapping up now. And I think, years ago, people would be kind of really laser focused on back to school. Was it stronger? Was it weaker? Was it better? Exactly what happened there. I think now there's a lot of investor concerns about, well, what exactly is the retail model now? And they're looking past that. I think it's kind of a smaller point. There's these sort of existential worries about retail and the web and e-commerce and how many stores these retailers should have and how many malls are going to close. So I think until the industry kind of figures that out, it's going to be some sort of tough sledding.
Is it just the Amazon effect, or is it organically what's happening with these individual retailers that they're missing the mark? Is it trend? Is it experience? Why do you think that is?
Yes. I think it's all of that. I think Amazon is the overriding kind of picture. Like that's Jeff Bezos has done a great job and really built kind of a distribution machine there, and he's shown that you can make pure play e-commerce work. Now, I don't think anyone else is really, at least in the immediate term, going to kind of do it at the scale that Amazon does. But so retailers are seeing some of their kind of growth siphon off to Amazon. Walmart's also starting to become very aggressive online. They bought Jet. They're sort of squaring off with Amazon. But I think retailers are also working hard to get their own house in order and figuring out how many stores do we need? What's the e-commerce kind of platform, combining that with social media outreach, kind of trying to invent a new kind of retail, and they're still in the process of doing that.
I think department stores in particular missed the mark when it came to web presence, and they're sort of catching up now when that window may have passed. What do you think happens with department stores?
Well, I think department stores have been declared dead. Every 5 or 8 years, department stores are declared dead, and kind of, somebody tries to move on. They're still with us. I think we will see a tighter department store presence. So malls are closing. There's a more of an emphasis on the A malls, the B malls, the better, the stronger, kind of snazzier retail locations. I think they'll be there, and they'll become a more important part of the department store business. The weaker parts of the portfolio we're seeing kind of close, and how that all shakes out, I don't know.
Right.
I think we're seeing a lot of, of the Nordstrom family, for instance. Some of the savviest retailers around are considering taking Nordstrom Inc. private. So, and that's kind of, I think, an acknowledgement that the public market is a tough place for retailers right now, that the company's trading at an attractive kind of level for them, and that there's some changes they want to make that might be better done away from the spotlight of Wall Street.
Do you think the retailers are going to be impacted by Hurricanes Harvey and Irma?
Absolutely. I think the estimates for Irma are $2.75 billion in lost sales, and Harvey's $1 billion in lost sales too. Those numbers could change, of course. So absolutely, there will be a hit from there. I think Florida's been on lockdown for a week. People have been running out to Walmart or Costco to get batteries and to get flashlights and water and all those kind of necessities. No one's been thinking of topping off their back to school wardrobes.
Right.
So I think some of the apparel side, the fashion business, will just be lost outright, but really kind of the toll that ultimately takes, we'll see in the third and fourth quarter.
Well, it's interesting because on retail conference calls, one of the most common reasons given for a miss is always weather.
Right,
whether it's too warm for the winter or it's too cold for the summer. So
there's always that one company that does really well, though.
Right.
That kind of, of like, well, if weather was really the factor, then why would so and so do well? But this time, I think genuinely, weather's been a favorite excuse of retail for a long time. This time, I think it's going to be a legitimate one.
What are your thoughts going into holiday 2017?
Well, I think we're still in this sort of existential phase of retail, and I think that's going to continue. The holiday season, sales are ultimately expected to kind of rise, although maybe not as strongly as some would like. There's a greater emphasis on e-commerce, on mobile. I think a lot more people are getting their kind of holiday shopping done on their phones, on their commutes or whatever, and not kind of braving the malls.
Yes, guilty as charged.
Yes. Me too.
Well, thank you very much for joining me at MarketSite. And as always, thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.